Did you finish the sharing?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, Bhante. Today is by Mr. Ryan. His sharing is so wonderful.
Well, that's for sure. Should have done very well. So, so shall we start then?
Yeah, Bhante.
Bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So today we'll be discussing on a new sutta. Before that, I think last time some questions were raised, especially Dr. Ryan raised a question regarding the difference between present participle, past participle in the nominative case and the gerund, right? So what is the difference? So I discussed this with my friend who is an Abhivansa. So according to the tradition, so I'll go to the notes. We mentioned that absolute can be written in locative, genitive, nominative, sometimes in accusative and ablative. So also that day we mentioned the past participle when it is in the absolute, past participle absolute. I hope everyone can see the screen. Locative, genitive with different agents, and nominative is the same agent. So it is equal to gerund. So when I discussed with my friend in the Abhivansa who has passed the Abhivansa exam, he mentioned that in such cases, the nominative absolute meaning can be found. That is for obvious, because the Bhava Lakkhana means you explain one action with another action. So in the locative genitive meaning also, the two different agents, but still the Bhava Lakkhana is there, even in the past participle. But traditionally, he meant to absolute, past participle absolute, nominative past participle absolute. Traditionally, they don't call it an absolute. They don't call it absolute. They call it, they give the meaning as a gerund. For example, if we go to the sutta, this is a bit advanced grammar. If we go to the sutta, we had a point like called, if you go to the middle of the paragraph, sammodhaniyang katan saraniyang vitisaratva ekamantang attasi. Then ekamantan hito koso, traditionally they would give, he said, hito, they would keep the tito as it is. They would keep the tito as it is, and within brackets they would give hutva, being. So tito is also explains that he stood, but at the same time, since it's a noun, they want to give the verbal meaning. Verbal means show that it's an action that has been done. So they give is tito hutva. So actually, like for example, if I give, for example, sorry, I'll leave this here. If we go to give another example on this. Right. So in the absolute point, for example, aham, ekamantang, ito, panhang, uching. So I, having stood in one place, asked the question. So in this way, traditionally, they give the meaning like putva and translate. So they put a gerund form in between. But in the case like we got the sutta, because this example we got ekamantang ito, so If I go to the sutta.
Ikamandang Tito Koso Brahmano.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Tito Koso. Koso Brahmano.
Gawandang Eta the Vocha.
Magawangtang Eta the Vocha. Right. So in this case, they would say Ekamantang Tito so Brahmano. So Tito is an adjective of, according to them, Tito is an adjective of so Brahmano. Tito is an adjective of so Brahmano. But it has the meaning because the sentence structure in the previous sentence, it ends. If you remember the previous sentence, Attasi. It ends with Attasi. Right? So normally the sentence can start with the gerund, but it's not a must. The rhythm goes, so that's so normally it seems like a gerund. So when I asked him the question, he said the gerund meaning can be given. There's no argument in it, but traditionally we explain it as a adjective. And then also in the nominative absolute, in the past participle, Tito Hutva, he mentioned that this also has the absolute meaning. But in the traditionally, they don't call it an absolute, but they give the meaning, making it a gerund. So instead of making it a Tito Hutva, or just making it Tattva, they make it Tito Hutva. It's equal to Tattva. So, and then when Dr. Ryan asked the question, what is the difference of keeping it in a nominative case or keeping it in the gerund form, because the meaning is same. For him also, he mentioned that he does, at the moment we cannot figure it out a specific reason for that. Maybe it's two ways of mentioning the same, mentioning the same meaning. So that's how our discussion ended with my friend.
Okay,
Dr. Ryan?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Bhante.
Yeah. So according to them, it's not an absolute. They translate it as a hutva, but he agreed upon my suggestion that past participle nominative case is an absolute. He said the absolute meaning is there for sure. So we'll participate in, we'll continue with the sutta. I think everyone got the handout. We have a new sutta called Brahmana Sutta, right? Brahmana Sutta. This sutta explains about Buddha mentioning, calling some of his great disciples as the Brahmins, calling them Brahmins. So it's a very short sutta. The real essence is found in the Gatha. Actually, in the Udāna Pāļi, the real Dhamma is found in the Gatha. We'll come into Gathas after few lectures, how to translate a Gatha, because Gatha is sometimes can be really a daunting task, the translation. So we'll, today, if we have time, we can go into the Gatha because it's a very simple Gatha, simple formation. First, we'll read the sutta. So anyone is volunteer to translate?
May I try, Bhante? 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 Bhante?
Yes.
May I try, Bhante?
Okay. So Robin is very, yeah, sure.
Thank you, Bhante. So, Ewa me sutang, ekang samayang bagawa, sawatiyang wiharati, jetawane anata pindekasa arame. Thus have I heard, one time the Blessed One was dwelling at Sawati in Jeta's Grove, Anatha Pindikas Park. Tenako pana samayena ayasmaca sariputo, ayasmaca mahamogalano, ayasmaca mahakasapo, ayasmaca maha... should we read mahakacayano, Bhante?
Hello.
Bhante?
Oh yes, please continue.
Ayasmaca mahakotiko, ayasmaca mahakapino, ayasmaca mahacundo, ayasmaca anurudo, ayasmaca rewato, ayasmaca nando, yena bagawa tenu pasang kami musuh. At that time, the Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Mahamoggallana, Venerable Mahakicayana, Venerable Mahakapino, Venerable Mahacunda, Venerable Anuruddha, Venerable Rewata, and Venerable Nanda approached the Blessed One. Adasako bagawa te ayasmante duratowa agachante. The Blessed One saw those venerables coming from afar. Diswana bhikkhu amantesi. Having seen, he addressed the bhikkhus. Ete bhikkhave brahmana agachanti. Ete bhikkhave brahmana agachantiti. Bhikkhus, those Brahmins are coming. Bhikkhus, those Brahmins are coming. Ewang wote anyataro brahmana jatiko bhikkhu bhagawantang etadawoca. When this has been said, a certain bhikkhu who is from a Brahmin caste said this to the Blessed One. Kita wuta nukho bante brahmana hoti. Kata meca pana brahmana karana damati. Venerable Sir, to what extent one is a Brahmin? What are the qualities that make someone a Brahmin?
Thank you very much, Mr. Robin.
Thank you,
Nicely done.
Bhante.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So,
Sorry,
go
Bhante.
to the grammar. Yes.
I cannot find this sutta.
Yes, sir. Number 5, paragraph number 5.
The same with the Udāna.
Yeah.
But I see only the Bodhi Sutta, no have the Brahmin Sutta.
Can anyone help her? After Huhunka Sutta, Sally, can you?
Okay, Don, I will send to you from Viber. You check it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Bhante, keep on.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, Brahmana Sutta, Evam Me Suttam, yes, the first part was properly translated. Accusative of time, Bhagavad, Blessed One, Savatyam Vihirdi, Jetavane, Anathapindikasara. In the grove of Jetavana, of Anathapindika, he was living in the monastery Arame, which was located in the Jetavana, which belonged to the Anathapindika in Savatthi. So here, another new point that I want to emphasize. This Savatthi is also in locative case, and Jetavane Anathapindikasa Jetavane is also in locative case. Then we have it may not be very useful means not very important in getting the meaning, the regular meaning. But when it comes to deep Dhamma points, like especially explaining about the Nibbana and so forth, this locative case, the meaning of locative case is very important. As you can see, I typed two meanings, Samipa, Visaya, and Visaya. Samipa is close by, nearby. Visaya means, now it's very difficult to translate this word. Visaya means if we are living in a certain area. For example, if you are living in the earth, we are living on the earth, if you are living in a village. So that entire space without which we cannot live is called the Visaya. So if someone is, a bird is flying in the sky, the action of flying cannot happen without the sky. So Visaya means if an action is happening in a certain kind of a space, spatial, or if the action cannot happen without this, without a certain area, certain location, that is called Visaya. Samipa means close by. Because the argument the commentators bring is Savatthi was a city. The Jetavana was not in the city, it was located near the city. It's like it is in a forest area, but it's very close to the Savatthi. So Savatthi and Jetavana are not in the same area. If you take the entire country, it's in the Kosala, that's for sure. So maybe it was in those days that Jetavana didn't belong to Savatthi. So therefore, they are asking the question, if Bhagava is living in Savatthi, he cannot live in Jetavana. If Vesadvan is living in Jetavana, he cannot live in Savatthi. So for that, we have to understand there are four meanings in the locative. Normally, the locative is fourfold. This is not, sometimes the locative case can be used in different meanings. I'm not talking about that. If you look into the lecture notes, you can find locative case can be used in time, sometimes in the cause, sometimes in location, so sometimes in the absolute. So there are different meanings of the locative case. I'm not talking about these kind of meanings. In the meaning of location, when the locative is used in the location meaning, in that sense, locative has four meanings. So they are called, first one is called Samipa, sorry, Upasilesika. Upasilesika means the surface upon which the action happens. So for example, if we are sitting on a chair, the chair touches our body. We sit on the chair. So if we stand upon the ground, so there is, it's the bodily contact is there. So if something is depending on something with that kind of physical contact, this is called Upasilesika Adhara. So locative here means Adhara. Yodaro Tamokaso. Normally in Kachayana, Adhara is referred as Okasa. So Upasilesika Adhara means, the example is someone sitting on a chair. So the second meaning of the Adhara is the second meaning of Adhara is we have Samipa. Samipa Adhara means close by. Location close to the action. For example, there is a statement, Gavo Nadiyan Charati. The cow is, if I write it in Pāļi, Gavo Nadiyan Charanti. The cows or the oxen wander in the river. But it doesn't mean that here the Nadiyang locative meaning doesn't say that they were traveling inside the river. It says that they were traveling close to the river. So this is called Samipada. Therefore, when we say the Blessed One was living in Savatthi, it says he was living close to Savatthi, not in Savatthi. His actual location was the monastery in Jetavana. So in such case, now the second one is Vesaikada. Vesaikadara means the location without which the action cannot happen. This is how it's given in grammar books. You can ask a question, what is the difference of Upasilesika and Vesaika? So Upasilesika is specifically mentioning about a certain surface upon which the action is happening. For example, if you're cooking something in a certain vessel, that vessel is Upasilesika. At the same time, you cannot cook without a vessel, that's true. But Vesaika means it normally refers to some kind of a space or a certain location without which the action cannot happen. if you are living in a village, so Gami Vasati. So the living happens in the area, compound of the village. So therefore, Gama is considered as the Vesika Adhara. The last one is, it's called Vyapika. Vyapika Adhara means the location in which something is spread. Spread, it means like if something has spread upon a certain surface for a certain thing. So the example is given. Tila. Sasapa is mustard. Mustard seed. So oil in the mustard seed. Mustard. So oil has been spread completely in the mustard seed. Or we can say Jale Kira. Jale Kira means milk in the water. These are the 4 explanations they give, the grammarians give about the Adhara, the location of an action. So when we go into the sutta, we find, okay. So when you go into the sutta, we find that Savatyang is also in locative case, Jetavana is also in the locative case, Aram is also in the locative case. So Savatthi was, for example, Savatthi was in a certain area. If you look at the cursor, then Jetavana was close by, not in the Savatthi according to the tradition. It was close by. Then if the Jetavana was quite bigger, Arama was inside the Jetavana, or maybe it completely occupied the entire Jetavana, or maybe it was inside the Jetavana. So in both the cases, the Buddha was living inside the Jetavana and inside the Arama. So therefore, they become the Vesaika, Visayadhara. So Vesaika or Visaya. So it means they are inside that. Otherwise, it can lead to confusion. Vesaika. Vesaika Adhara. Another grammatical point I want to emphasize, there are 4 types of locations. Samipa, Vesaika, Upasilesika, and Vyapika. So this is the first grammatical point I want to discuss today. Anyone has questions? Okay. Hello? I cannot hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Maybe the second Gavo Charadi singular, right? Gavo Nati and Charandi, but it's
Gavo
plural,
is,
but Gavo is singular.
Gavo is plural. Go has a different, it's a different declination system.
Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
It's not the nominative case.
Oh, I thought the Gavo is singular and Jarandi plural, but I was wrong.
No.
Gavo here plural, right?
Because go, Gavo, Gavo. It's go is the nominative singular. Go.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Then we come to, yes.
I would like to ask about the Samipa and Vesaika, Bhante. Sorry, Opa Silesika and Vesaika.
Yes.
So it means like, for example, right now my computer is in the desk, so it is the Opa Silesika.
Yes, exactly.
And then I'm in my room right now, so it is the Vesaika, Bhante.
Yeah,
is it like
your
that,
computer? Bhante? Yeah, if you say your computer is in the room, it's a Vesaika. If you say it's on the desk.
Oh, okay, Bhante. So,
You are
but
sitting on the chair. It's
Yes.
opposite Vesika. You are living in the room. It's Vesika.
Oh, okay, Bhante. So Vesaika is like the rest of the space like that, Bhante.
Yeah, we can say like
Okay,
not the
Bhante.
exact location where your body is having a physical contact.
Oh, okay, Bhante. Thank you, Bhante.
So then we go to the next sentence. Tena kopana samayena. We all know that is instrumental of time. Instrumental of time. Then we come a list of Mahatheras. Ayasma is a word that was used by monks to address other monks. Ayasma. Because this Ayasma, for your Dhamma knowledge, while the Buddha was alive, monks used to address each other with the word auso. They used to address each other. So this is the word they use, auso. Auso normally is, in those days, it was used to address people of the similar status. Similar status. When the Buddha met the 5 ascetics for the first time to give the Dhamma talk, they called him as Auso. And the Buddha said, don't call the Blessed One, Bhagava, Tathagata, the Auso. It's not proper. But so the monks used to call the Buddha the Bhante, the respected one. Then the Bhante. But monks each other call each other Auso, because even though there was seniority during the Buddha's time, they had to respect the senior monks, but the addressing happened as Auso. So you can see in the Parinibbana Sutta, Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Buddha mentions that from today onwards, a junior monk should not address a senior monk with the name Auso. He should address him either by calling him Bhante or Ayasma. Ayasma is also a very respected word. So Ayasma mentioning, it's a kind of with a blessing, calling that someone who has a long life is called Ayasma. Auso is also a derived form of Ayasma. It also says that the one who has long life. Bhante is a respected word. Bhante, Badante, these words. So the monks are allowed to address seniors Bhante and Ayasma, juniors as Auso or by name. By name. A senior can call me, but a junior should not call me with my name. That is a gesture given in our tradition. It's according to the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. But ironically, what has happened, the word Ayasma is being used a little bit differently in our tradition. So nowadays, for example, word Auso is always used for the junior monks, and we call the junior monks by name in certain occasions. And sometimes the word Ayasma is also used to address the junior monks. I don't know how this change has occurred. We only use the word Bhante, or in Sinhalese we have a different name, Swami Mahansa. So this Bhante for the seniors. But according to the Parinibbana Sutta, you see Ayasma is a word that is Buddha has asked to use by juniors to the seniors. But in Sri Lanka, ironically, we don't use the Ayasma word for seniors. It will be considered as something not very polite, but I'm not sure why and when this change has happened in the tradition, in the living tradition. So Ayasma is a word because this sutta was re-uttered after the first council, so after the Buddha's demise. So when Venerable Maha Ananda was referring to a certain monk or to himself, he used the word Ayasma, right? He used the word Ayasma, even though he was junior or senior, it didn't matter as a respective word. But if you look into the suttas which were given during while the Buddha was alive, Venerable Sariputta addressed the monks as Auso. Then instead of saying Bhante, the other monks also called Venerable Sariputta Auso. So because Venerable Ananda was just recording the suttas, so therefore he just kept the word Auso even among the discussions since juniors and seniors. There was no such a word called Bhante addressing with senior monks when the Buddha was still alive. So that is for your knowledge. So this ayasma is a word, a respectful word. Tenako Panasavan at the time, Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Mahamoggallana, Venerable Mahakassapa, Kachayana or Kachana, both is correct grammatically. We don't know exactly what was used, but in Sri Lankan tradition, they use Kachayana. Ayasmacha Mahakottita, Ayasmacha Mahakappina. I'm using the Kappina word, is right? Ayasmacha Mahachunda or Chundo, Ayasmacha Anuruddha, Ayasmacha Revata. So all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, right? 9 months approach the Buddha. Here you can know, we discussed last time, the place where you go, the person where you approach can be written nominative case, yena, and surrounded by yena and tena, right? Yena and tena. Another point that for your knowledge is that this yena and tena, the location that we arrive can be extended. For example, if I go to the previous notes, location I mentioned, so yena gamo tena gacchati, sa yena vapi tena upasamkamati, right? Yena and tena. So this also we mentioned the grammatical rule behind this. So this can be extended, for example. For instance, someone goes to Savatthi and goes to Jetavana. So in that case, we write, so yena Savatthi, yena Jetavanam, tena Sankamati. You can see this in Vinaya in some places. Now you can read, so yena Savatthi, yena Jetavanam, tena Upasamkamati. So he first went to Savatthi, and also he went to Savatthi and then went to Jetavana, right? So this yena and tena, you can extend it in this manner. It's not necessary that it should be written only to yena gamo tena, right? So you can extend this, yena Savatthi, yena Jetavanam, yena Anathapindikassaramo, tena Upasamkamati. You can even extend 3, 4 nouns. So this shows that he went to this place, and then finally to that place. Avatti tenupasankami, so yena Jetavanam tenupasankami. So it's 2 different sentences merged into one. So this is how we extend the locations that one has arrived. So then we go to the sutta. Then it's clear. Then Addasako Bhagavate Ayasmante Durato Agachanti. This sentence also needs to be explained grammatically. So the roughly idea is the Blessed One saw them coming from far away, right? Coming from far away. So if we analyze this sentence, Ayasmant, now the subject is the Bhagava. Addasa is the verb. It's come from the root this, right? Past tense of this is Addasa. Is in a singular third person. Bhagava is the subject. Then the object of seeing, what did he see? What he saw was these or those who were coming from far away. So here the object is written in accusative plural, te ayasmante agacchante. Duratova is a different word. Is a different word. So, so when I discussed about this with my friend about how the grammatically, traditionally they would explain, we normally translate that he saw them coming from far away. So we can have 2 technical explanations on this. He saw them who were coming from far away, or he saw them coming from far away. It means he saw them far away. From far away means not he didn't see them while they approached him close by. He saw them from far away while they were coming. Or also we can suggest that these venerables were coming from far away. But normally the translation goes in the first way. Buddha saw them from far away, means he saw them before they come close to him. So from distant, they saw him. So then this object of this Adasaiste Ayasmante, those venerables who were coming. So normally we see those venerables who were, he saw the venerables who were coming from far away. This is how we translate. But if you go into, this may not be, not necessary for you to understand the meaning. Technically, if you go to a traditional grammar, they would call this as a Vikati Kamma. Vikati Kamma means, sometimes this may lead to some confusion for some students, but since some students are advanced in Pāļi, I just need to give some information on this. So traditionally, surprisingly, they explain this as the Vikati Kamma. I'll just write it here. Vikati Kamma. Vikati Kamma means the Kamma has changed into another. So what they traditionally in Myanmar, they explain is these venerables he saw them, it means these venerables has become the ones who are coming from far away. That's how they explain. These venerables have become the ones who are coming from far away. These venerables have become the ones who are coming, who are approaching the Buddha. So they consider it as Vikati Kamma. For me, it's very difficult to explain how it is a Vikati Kamma, but this is how traditionally they are explaining. So then, according to that, the Duratova. So this Duratova is divided Dura plus To plus Eva. Dura plus To plus Eva. So Dura is a noun, far, To. So if we take that these venerables were coming from far away, this is ablative. They were coming from a far away distance. But the translation goes, the Buddha saw them while they were far away, before they came close. So according to that, because if you take the ablative case means from where the action happens. So if you use the ablative here, it has no connection. It means, how to say, here when we say he was seen from far away, so it is not, if you take the first translation, Buddha saw them while coming from far away, not before they reached the close by. So it shows, this Durato shows that the location where the monks were when the Buddha saw them. I'll repeat again, the location where the monks were when the Buddha saw them. So this becomes a locative to, according to that. This becomes a locative to, according to that. The meaning, if you analyze the meaning, right? So this Durato shows that they were located in a faraway location while the Buddha saw them. So this is how the monks, the location where the monks were when the Buddha saw them. So, but normally you translate this, the Blessed One saw them coming from far away. This is how we translate. But when you go into explain grammatically, we find this kind of explanation. Traditionally, they explain as Vikati Kamma, which I am unable to explain why it is. This is how the technical term was given. And Duratova, it appears like To is in the locative meaning where the monks were while the Buddha saw them. Yeah, so it's a simple sentence to understand, but when you analyze grammatically, sometimes you can ask the question, isn't this absolute? Isn't it the accusative absolute? Buddha saw them while they were coming. This is another argument that one can bring. Buddha saw them while they were coming from, saw them from far away while they were coming. Traditionally, they don't prefer that, but still the meaning, whichever you take the meaning can be easily understood. Any questions regarding this?
Hi, Bhante.
Yes, Dr. Ryan.
Is So they taking that meaning, is it because of the word ewa? So the word ewa here is just to kind of a emphasis to see that, in fact,
Yes.
Buddha see them from afar. So
Yes.
if we don't have the word ewa, then we can say that, in fact, the word durato, in fact, are related to the word agachante. See that how we should understand something?
Yes. You mean if they were coming from far away? If they were coming from far away, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you said that there are two ways to understand this.
Yeah, that's a good, really good argument. Really good argument. I'll discuss. Yeah, that's a very good argument. I'll also inform this to my friend. It's a very nice argument. Yes, we can say if they were coming from far away, eva is not necessary, right?
Right.
Yeah, eva is not necessary.
Yeah.
So therefore, yeah. So the traditionally also they translate. When I asked him, they said they translate. They get the meaning as we said. Buddha saw them from far away before they came close. And the point that you are mentioning is a valid point, because otherwise the eva is not necessary otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that. But this vikati kamma meaning, I don't. It's very difficult to me to explain. But that's how they explain. Any questions? Yeah. Yes, sir.
So Bhante, I think I was thinking about the agachandi there. Maybe it's like absolute, like accusative absolute, right?
Yeah, sometimes we can think it like that. Yeah. But traditionally, they don't take it like that. That's why I mentioned.
Yeah, because in tradition, they never see there is accusative absolute.
No, there is accusative absolute in tradition.
When I discuss with Myanmar monks, sometimes they say no, they don't have accusative absolute.
Okay, they don't have it. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But traditional modern grammarians say, right?
Yes, this is the modern grammarian's idea, because when I discuss with Myanmar Bandits, I said there is accusative absolute. They said no, there's no accusative absolute. But when I check modern grammar, there is.
There is, yeah. Bhagavantam Buttaving Onotta Pattapani. Yeah, this is the example they give. Yeah, so you can, I think this absolute is also possible in this sense. Buddha saw while they were coming. But in that case, we can ask the question, what is the object of Addasa? You can say he saw the venerables, but then directly the verb Addasa, the object of the Addasa is not mentioned, because if this is absolute, absolute shows that while they were coming, Buddha saw while they were coming. So then we have to insert a word, they. Buddha saw them while they were coming. So we go to the next one. So this one, so with the previous sentence, the verb of the previous sentence is addasa. So the next sentence starts with this one. For beginners, please keep in mind, in Pāļi, there is no specific location where this verb should come. Verb can come at the end, verb can come at in between, middle of the sentence, sometimes in the beginning of the sentence. So this is an example, the addasa, the verb has come in the beginning of the sentence. So then the next sentence is started, he has begun with the gerund of this verb, this one. So having seen, bhikkhu amantesi. So you can see there is no subject in this second sentence. This one, bhikkhu amantesi. So when there are two sentences, if the subject is the same, when there are two sentences, and sometimes, not always, two sentences, if the subject is the same or the object is the same, we don't need to mention it in the both sentences. Just mention in the first sentence is enough to understand that being considered in the second sentence. So here, then the next second sentence, there's no subject. So we have to bring a subject from the previous sentence. Bhagava amantesi. Bhagava disvana te bhikkhu disvana amantesi. So in this second sentence, we don't have the subject of this one. We don't have the object of this one. See. So because the subject and the object of this one is identical with the subject and object of adasa. So we don't no need to mention it. So if you go to the previous sutta also, we can find in the second paragraph, Brahmano yena bhagava tenupa sankami, right? Yena bhagava tenupa sankami. Then upasankamitva. So it means Brahmano bhagavantang upasankamitva. Explains it. So therefore, if the two sentences are close by, if both the sentences have the same subject and the same object, sometimes the same instrument, we don't mention it sometimes. That is a commonly followed rule in Pāļi. For this one, Bhikkhu Amantesi, having seen the monks, he addressed the monks who were residing, not the monks who were coming. Monks who were coming, he saw from far away, but he addressed the monks who were surrounded. The commentary says he was preaching Dhamma to the monks at that time. So he repeated the same sentence twice in the tradition is called Amedita. Amedita Vachana. It's called Amedita Vachana. Amedita Vachana means you repeat the word, one word or a sentence twice normally, or thrice. So there are few ways. For example, if out of fear, when there is a snake, we normally say in other languages, a snake, we normally say 2 times. If you are in a hurry, come, we call. It's like, hurry up. So sometimes we repeat the same word or the same sentence 2 times or 3 times due to different reasons. So here the commentary says it was like praising them. He was praising the monks who were coming, who were all arahants. So these monks, the Brahmins are coming. These ete bhikkhave brahmanaga, those Brahmins are coming. Those monks, those Brahmins are coming. So he wanted to emphasize these monks as the Brahmins. So it's a pasansa vasena or pasada vasena. He was pleased with the monks, pasada, or he wanted to praise the monks. Both the meanings are found. If you are interested in finding this Amedita, please go to the last part of the Sandhi chapter. In the Nirutti Dipani, you can find a list of words, list of meanings that are referring to this Amedita Vachana. Even according to Lady Sayadaw, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, when we recite 3 times, this is Amedita Vachana. You do it 3 times. And also in our traditions, when we do any Vinaya Kama, like a short Vinaya Kama, like determining the robes, determining the patta, we do it always 3 times. So it has become a tradition in some Theravada traditions. Now, for example, in Thailand, you say sadhu 1 time. But in Sri Lanka, normally we say sadhu 3 times. So this has become the Amedita Vachana has become still is a living tradition that we used in. It can be found in any language. In Pāļi, it is specifically mentioned about this. Then Buddha repeated the same thing 2 times. Bhikkhave is a vocative case. Agachanti. Evang vutte. So thus said, when Buddha has said thus, right? Evang vutte. Anyataro brahmana jatiko bhikkhu bhagavantang edato. So a certain brahmana jatiko, if you remember the lecture notes, last week we mentioned that the word jatika, sila, they have similar kind of a noun. Uhunka jatika. For the word uhunka jatika, I mentioned that when jatika is connected to a certain clan or a group or a race, or that race, right? And Hujjana jatika, even regarding an emotion, we can have this. Regarding the emotions, regarding certain habits, another word we can use is sila. We used to do that again and again. So here we come with the word Jatika, Brahmana Jatika, like Uhunka Jatika. This shows that a certain monk. Anyataro Brahmana Jatiko Bhikkhu. This Bhikkhu belongs to the clan of the Brahmins. He ordained from the Brahmin clan. Bhagavantang Etaja Vocha said this to the Blessed One. Etaja Vocha, for the beginners, the Sandhi is Etang Avocha. Right? Etang Avocha. So here, Nigahita changed into Da. Right? Avocha is the past tense of Avocha is the past tense of Vachati. Vach, the root is to watch, to say. Avocha. So he said is the past tense. Is added. So etang avocha said thus. Now what is being said is explained here. Kittavatanuko Bhante Brahmano hoti. To what extent Bhante, Venerable Sir, one is a Brahman. Ko Bhante Brahmano hoti. Khatamecha pana Brahmana karana dhamma. What are the qualities, virtues that makes one a Brahman? Brahmana karana dhamma. You remember this also we discussed in the previous lecture. Brahmana karana, Brahmana karaka. So the virtues that makes one a Brahmin or a Vasala, outcast, or a Buddha, we can call Brahmana Karana, Vasala Karana, Buddha Karana, and also Karaka. Brahmana Karaka Dhamma, Vasala Karaka, Buddha Karaka Dhamma. Right? So Brahmana Karana Dhamma is the qualities that makes you a Brahmin. If you go to the Sutta, in the previous sutta, Huhunka Sutta, is the Huhunka Sutta. In this Huhunka Sutta, you can see Brahmana Karana and Brahmana Karaka within brackets. In some traditions, some Tiptaka, the word Karaka was used instead of Karana. They have the same meaning. So then, if you go to the next sentence, Atako Bhagava Etamattang Viditva, Thayang Velayang Imang Udāna Mudas. Then the Blessed One, Bhagava, Etamattang. So Etamattang means Etang Attang. Etang Attang Viditva. Etang Attang means that meaning, or that the meaning he wanted to, on that occasion, he wanted to emphasize something. So he wanted to say that one is called a Brahmin not because of his birth, because of his qualities. So knowing this meaning, that what he want to emphasize of his clan, because of his qualities. Every sutta in Udāna you can find Atapo Bhagava Etamattang Viditva. So what is this Attang meaning? It depends on the sutta. The commentary of this sutta explains the meaning of the word Brahmin. The real meaning of the word Brahmin. Real meaning means not the conventional. Ultimately, what Brahmin means, having known that meaning, Viditva, having known, Thayang Velava, at that time. So this is a feminine. Velayang is a feminine locative gender. The feminine gender locative case. Thayang according to that gender and according to the case. That time, Imang Udāna Udasis uttered this utterance. Right? Uttered this utterance. Udāna uttered this utterance. We'll explain this grammatical structure later. So Bahitva Papake Dhamme Ye Charanti Sada Sata Kina Sangyojana Buddha Teve Lokasmin Brahmana. Because I have a few minutes, I'll try to explain this Gata, because it's a short sutta. We spent some time. I think it's easy to understand. So if you go to the vocabulary of this sutta, Brahmana Sutta. Okay, I have. Just give me one moment. Brahmana Sutta. Brahmana Sutta. So this Brahmana Sutta vocabulary, I hope everyone can see. If you go to the Gatha part. So in a Gatha, the Pāļi is given, the Gatha, and how to understand the Gatha. The Gatha is small, mostly in most cases Gathas are scattered. Their meaning, the word order is scattered. So in Pāļi it's not necessary, but to get the idea correct easily, we arrange the Gatha accordingly. And sometimes you have to insert certain words in order to understand the Gatha. That's why the commentary of the Gatha is very important. I have given the commentary for the students who can read it, so they can get the idea. And also, bold made the words which are in the Gatha bold color, so you can read the commentary clearly. So this Vahitva Papake Dhamme Ye Charanti Sada Sata is put in as Ye Papake. So Ye comes in the beginning. So this Ye have to bring in the beginning. Ye Papake Dhamme Bahitva Sada Sata Charanti. So this is a relative clause. Then the next relative clause, Kina Sangyojana Buddha. So this Kina Sangyojana Buddha we have to bring again, because this relative clause ends with a certain subject, a certain verb. Ye Papake Dhamme Bahita Sada Sata Charanti. Ye Kina Sangyojana Buddha Kina Sangyojana Buddha Bhavanti or Honti. You can add it. Right. So within brackets, what I mentioned is the words that you have to insert in order to get the meaning. So what does this mean? Papake Dhammi. You can see evil natures. Bahitva. Bahitva means having taken out. Having taken, have removed, destroyed, expelled. So who has expelled the evil natures? Who has taken out the evil natures? Then Sada, always. Sata. So Sata is a word, one who is mindful. This comes with Sati plus a suffix. This is a secondary derivation. So Sati is the mindfulness. Satha is an adjective. This can be used, the one who is mindful, not the mindfulness, the one who is mindful. So Sata means plural. So Ye Papake Dhamme Bahita Sada Sata Charanti. Who has removed, having removed the evil deeds, who Charanti is wander, Sata, being mindful, Sada, right? Sada Sata Charanti. So here also, this is a nominative plural, Sata. Ye is also nominative plural. Ye and Sata are nominative plural nouns. Yeah, nominative plural nouns. So this means the subject Ye has become mindful. They wander, being mindful. Right? Sata, you can say Hutva or Samano. Right? Hutva or Samano. It depends on the Satimanto. So the commentary gives the Hutva. Being mindful. Right? Being mindful. I mentioned that the nominative case word, so sometimes it comes in this manner. So always, we also discussed that nominative case word either will be followed by the word samana or hutva. So here we translate Ye Papake Dhamme Bahitva Sada Sata Hutva Charanti. Who having taken out the evil deeds, wander, having become mindful. That is the relative clause. Then Ye Kina Sangyojana Buddha. So Kina Sangyojana, you can see one whose fetters are exhausted, destroyed and wasted, right? So it means their fetters are completely destroyed, completely gone, exhausted. So whose fetters are exhausted? Buddha, enlightened, right? Buddha, the one who is enlightened. Bhavanti. Who are Bhavanti is we know it as are, who are the ones whose fetters are exhausted and ones who are enlightened. The enlightened. Te, those. So this ye words are connected to te, those who. So we normally in English we translate those who. So these, the person who having removed the evils and wander, becoming mindful, and whose fetters are exhausted and who are enlightened, they is they. Ve is indeed. It shows indeed. Lokasmin Brahmana. They are the Brahmins in the world. So the commentary says, gives the meaning Nama. It's called, they are called the Brahmins in this world, right? So this Nama, it means are called. Is called or are called because it's plural sentence. So we put it as are called. So this is what the stanza says. Because it was a simple gatha, I tried to explain it. Hope you got the idea. So what does he want to say is a person is not a Brahmin because of the clan or because of something else. The ones who have removed the evil deeds and wander, being mindful, having become mindful, and who has exhausted the fetters and who are enlightened, they are the real Brahmins in this world. So that's what he wants to say. And the question was raised by a monk who has ordained from the Brahmin clan. So Buddha clarified his doubts by giving this explanation. Yeah, that's what I want to share today. Do you have any questions regarding what we have discussed so far? Questions? Yes, sir. Okay. So seems no questions, right? Okay, so shall we call it a day then?
Okay, Bhante.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
So, yeah, and I saw some messages in the Viber that need to discuss some questions regarding the stories. So how can we arrange it?
Yes, Bhante, that would be great, Bhante, because in fact, I think I have a few questions, and I think if we have the answer,
Sorry, Raya.
discussion for
Raya,
that.